Right, so I'm going to import some new sprites here. You can see I've already imported one here called SPR person down. I'm going to create a new person sprite. Sorry, this is going to be SPR person right. And instead of loading a static sprite, I'm going to edit a sprite. And this is the sprite editor here. And I'm going to click File. And instead of clicking New, I'm going to click Create from Strip. So I've actually got this sprite strip here that I've downloaded. It's a free open source one I got from opengameart.org. And if I double click on it, you'll see it's got a whole lot of different sprites in here. Now, I only want the ones of the person walking to the right. So there are three of those in that animation. And so I go number of images 3, images per row 3, image which is 32 by 32, I know that. If it was a different size sprite, I may have to change it. But then I know it's the third one down here, so I want to change the vertical cell offset to 2. So instead of that one, it's the third one down. Now I do know that in between each of these there is a gap of 1. If I set it to 0, it's not quite right. If I set it to 2, it's off. But if I set it to 1, it's just perfect. So when I set it to 1, that's okay. I click OK, and it imports my 3 different sprites. I can do a little preview, see the walking animation, turn the speed down. So there's a walking animation. And what I'm going to need to do with this is modify it a little bit. So image, eraser color, and I should just be able to click OK. It should automatically pick what color I want to erase, that background color. Click OK. So there's that. Now I'm going to do that for the left and going down. This is going to be our spy character and also all the people. Originally I had them as green, I'm going to change them to red. So I'm just going to pause the video while I do that, and you can do that as well. So that's done. I've got sprite person down, person right, person up, person left. And it's probably a good idea just to create a group for these. Call them person spy and put them all into there just to keep them separate. You can only drag one by one, unfortunately. Now in object person, we're going to have to, similar to what we did before, is in the step event, we're going to check the direction that they're moving. So we don't actually need to create a direction for this. What we can do is, or we'll do it in the begin step. So step, begin step. And that way it does it before it draws to the screen, so there might not be any glitches. All we do is check this variable here. And the variable we're going to test is vSpeed. And if it's less than 0, then they must be walking to the left. So we're going to change sprite to person left. The speed, probably speed 5 is a decent speed. Change that. And sub-image we just started at 0. Now we check vSpeed is greater than 0. If it's larger than 0, then they're moving to the right, because as the X increases, it goes to the right. And we want to change the sprite into person spy right. So you can't see that bit off the right hand side of the screen. Speed 5. And then lastly, well, second to last, we'll check horizontal speed. If that's greater than 0, then we will make sure that they are moving to the, we change the sprite to the person going, this one needs to be right. This one needs to be vertical speed larger than 0, means they're going down the screen. So that needs to be person down. And this one needs to be person up. Person up. And then lastly, we can just copy this. Oh, we may as well just put a new one in. Page speed is less than 0. Then they're going to be changed into sprite left and speed 5. think all of them should be speed 5. We'll have to check that when I play it. But now when I play it, unknown variable v, I spelt it wrong. Here, v speed, h speed. I've got these little guys walking around now. It looks like they're stuck on the same animation instead of actually being animated, but they are pointing in the right direction, so that's good. I'll just test this and see if -1 does any difference. Okay, so when they're walking to the right, that is working, so it needs to be -1. And speed, I'll put it as 0.2. I'm just testing some things out here. So this is all that trialing and prototyping, seeing which values work, which ones don't. I said 0.2, didn't I? So let's test that and see if it works. Okay, so now they've all got nice little animations. 0.2 of the normal animation, so they're going a little bit slower than what it would normally run at. And now I need to get it for my president and my ambassador as well. So I'm going to pause the video while I create that. It's going to be the same as this, except I'm going to use a different color for each one. So I'm going to need 2 more. I'll pause the video. So I've almost made them all, and I'm just about to load the last one, SPR ambassador right, edit sprite, file, create from strip, and I want this one here, so it is the segment. You can also drag it around on here, but it just won't be as accurate. You might have to make some adjustments. So I'm just going to leave that. And 3, 1, 2, that's going to the right. And then image, erase color, click OK and tick. So I've got all those. I'll just create some groups here. Insert group, ambassador. So that's going to go into there, and I chose a female character for the ambassador. And I haven't actually got a cached ambassador sprite, and I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm just going to create president group. The groups aren't necessary, they're just useful. So we've got these here, and we can actually just copy this whole code because it's very, very similar for all of them. So what I'm going to do is copy it for the president as well, and I'll just minimize this. So open up the president, begin step event, and I'll put this right at the top. Change into sprite, that's person up, so we'll make it president up. This one's person down, so we'll make it president down. This one's person left, so we'll make it president left. And person right, left, so we'll make it president left. And this one should be president right, I think. Yep. Okay, so that should be fine for there. Then for the ambassador, same thing. This is person up, so we'll make it ambassador up. Person down, so we'll make it ambassador down. Person right, so we'll make it ambassador right, and finally, of course, ambassador left. Now, since we've got the tick down the bottom, we don't really need to change the ambassador into that cached up bit anymore, so we can just ignore that. And we can leave these as sprites, because as soon as the game starts, they're going to start moving in a direction, and it'll replace it with these sprites anyway. Finally, object spy, begin step, we will add this stuff into there. We don't even need to change it because it's already the same for that, because it's using the same sprite. So now when we hit play, we should have a much more interesting game to look at, except these guys start as black and white. Now the ambassador's not actually in there anywhere. Why is that? Let's see if we run it again. There she is. There must be some kind of bug or something. So there's the president, and I'm not sure which one of these guys is mine. There he is. So I should still be able to cache the ambassador up. Hit E, and that's been ticked down the bottom there. So that's just something else that the counter spy is going to have to keep an eye on. He needs a sprite. So finally, we just have to create a sprite for him. And I'll quickly do that, and I'll pause it and then unpause it. So there's my counter spy sprite. It actually looks kind of creepy, more like a little assassin actually. I should put them in their own folder, but I won't worry about it now. I'll just go down here, minimize all those sprites. You can see how in a larger game you're going to end up with quite a lot of sprites, which is why it's not a good idea, or it's never a good idea to find them first. Because if you spend so much time finding those sprites before you even get started, then the problem is that you may end up changing them halfway through, or not really knowing, and maybe you need more, maybe you need less. It's just a waste of your time. So you're going to be doing those last, not first. If I go into my counter spy object, we'll go add in a step, begin step, and add all those in. Change these into counter spy up, counter spy right, counter spy left, and counter spy, that should be counter spy left, sorry, counter spy right. And it's probably a good idea to change it into one of these at the start. Also the object spy, change into one of these at the start. Now there is a problem with this game in that if the spy player doesn't start moving as soon as the game starts, it can be easy for the counter spy to find out who he is. So we've got object spy down there. Counter spy moves pretty quick. I must have made a mistake there, because when he goes up he changes to the right sprite as well. No, when he goes down he changes to the right sprite, so I'll have to fix that out. When he pushes control, shoots, boom, the spy is successful because the spy won. Okay, so there's our game. It's actually looking not too bad. The HUD down the bottom is now out of place because it kind of looks a bit more fantasy based now instead of espionage, but that's okay, it still works. There probably should be some kind of a counter or something that I'd want to add here, so that after it says the spy is successful, after 10 seconds the game restarts, so that you can't just keep playing it in here. And that's it. So next video we're going to be creating a platform game with some mouse aim shooting and looking at game views. So I'm not going to worry too much in that one about what the game looks like, all the animations and things, because we've had a bit of an experience here on setting up those animations, making them work. This guy can probably be animated a bit more, maybe a bit faster. So if I go into object counter spy, begin step, here's speed, maybe 0.6 instead of 0.2, and you'll see that that animation will be a bit faster because he runs about 3 times or 4 times faster than anyone else, and he's got to be able to catch the spy before they escape. So now you can see that he runs there, and I'll just change the down sprite, begin step, be speed larger than 0, that should be down. Then I'll have a look here, he should work now. So left he runs, right, going up and going down. So he can run all over the place. And that's it, that's done.